Hey everyone, Gary here from Echidna Sewing, and today I'm thrilled to introduce you to the Halo X10 needle free arm embroidery machine. You know, machine embroidery is so popular these days, and it has been for the home market ever since the early 90s, the late 1980s, and it just gets better and better, and the new Halo X machine is just sensational. This is a game changer. If you are an absolute embroidery fanatic, you love it, or maybe you're looking at getting into setting up a home-based business or a small hobby business, or you just love embroidery and you want something bigger and better, this might be the machine for you. We're going to go through in this video and just really cover off on the main features on the machine and just a little bit on how easy it is to use, but we have loads of videos available for you as well to sort of dig into all the nitty-gritty of it. So this video really is just going to set that platform for you. So let's have a look first at all the key benefits of having a multi-needle machine like the Halo X. The first and obvious one is it's a multi-needle, yes, 10 needles. So that means if you have got a design with multiple colors, this will automate the process for you. It is so much easier than using a single needle machine. And a lot of people look at these machines and go, yeah, a little bit daunting, but the Halo X changes all that because it is so simple and compact and space saving, yet is so big on features. And with multi-needles, it means you've just got more time to do things you want to do, you don't have to babysit the machine as often, and it really is very, very simple to use. So obviously that's the number one thing, multi-needles. Then of course it's also a free arm machine. Now what that means is here we have our free arm down the bottom here, and you know, if you've got a home machine or you've seen other machines on the market, you might think, oh well, you know, most machines have a free arm, but the difference is on a multi-needle commercial machine like this, the free arm really is quite functional, and that is because it allows you to do tubular items. So let me grab a hoop and show you what that actually means. Okay, so put simply, a free arm or a tubular machine, the hoop, the standard hoops that come with it, well, they work like this. So the part of the hoop that attaches to the machine, which has 2 points of contact, it sits on top of the fabric, and the outer ring of the hoop sits underneath the fabric. So that means that once we've hooped up the item we're about to embroider, like this little jumpsuit here, I can actually open the tube of the garment and slide it over the free arm, and then pop my hoop into place and do my embroidery. Now, of course, by contrast, on a home machine or a flat machine, the hoop works the other way. So this is a typical home machine hoop. The part of the hoop that attaches to the machine is underneath the fabric and the inner ring is on top. And that makes it way more difficult to embroider tubular items. And in fact, on some tubular items, it's almost impossible. You've got to undo side seams, etc., to get them onto the hoop, onto the machine. But not with a free arm or a tubular machine. It's fantastic. So that's one of the big fundamental differences. And speaking of hoops, let's take a look at what comes standard with the Halo X. So starting with the included hoops, we've got the 9cm round hoop, the 12cm round hoop, and the 17cm round hoop, and they're standard with the machine. Plus we've got this is 24 centimeters by 24 centimeters, so that's the actual embroidery area. So that's a lovely good size hoop, and it's a tubular hoop as well. And then the biggest hoop on this machine is a whopping 360 by 240. So that's a big embroidery area on such a compact machine. So those hoops are standards, but there are so many aftermarket and extra hoops that we can get for you. There's cap frames, there's sock frames, there's pocket frames, there's magnetic frames, and loads of accessories available, and all really, really well priced. So check out our website for all those extras that are available. The other thing that is standard with the Halo X is this amazing heavy duty all steel stand. So that comes with the machine. It's completely mobile with little locking feet on it, so you can lock it into position. And that means the machine's going to run absolutely flawlessly and smooth. And of course, they're so quiet, these machines. In fact, that's one of the key features that I just want to talk about for a moment. One of I think the design briefs on the Halo X was to keep it compact, and as you can see, this is such a compact machine. To be such a convenient size, it'll go in any sewing room. So you'll find space in your sewing room. In fact, in most cases, this has a smaller footprint than the average home embroidery machine. Can you believe that? To get a 10 needle machine, free arm machine, big hoop in a compact unit like this is incredible, and it all just makes sense. So the stand is included, and of course there's a toolkit comes with it. Let me show you that. It's a great little toolkit. There's heaps of stuff in here. You've got tools, you've got Allen keys, all the things you need to maintain your machine, all in this handy little, really good quality case. And spare needles, bobbins, spare bobbin case, and all the basic service parts that we're going to need over the course of the life of the machine, and they're all included. So you actually get that with the machine in the little kit there. And last but not least, it also comes with an independent bobbin winder. So there's a video on our website shows you how to use this, and that means you can wind your own bobbins, but of course you can use pre-wound bobbins as well, and these take a standard L-style pre-wound bobbin. Any particular bobbin style that you like, whether it's a sideless, a magnetic, or a plastic sided, or wind your own. It's pretty simple and very, very easy to use. So what else can I tell you about this amazing machine? I did mention earlier, it's quiet. Now, if you're putting this into a spare bedroom, or perhaps you've got your sewing room at home, and you are the type of person that likes to embroider at night, this is going to be great because it's quiet, and you're not going to wake the rest of the house up when you're using it. The other thing that's convenient is they've lowered the stand height, so the machine is at a really nice, usable height for most people. Getting to the threading system on the back of the machine is easy, and because it's a multi-needle machine or a 10 needle machine, it's got 10 spaces for spools. I've got the 5,000 meter spools on here at the moment, but you can use 1,000 meter, whatever spool sizes you have will work on here, and they're very, very easy to get to. And for those of you who are looking at this and going, oh my goodness, I'd never be able to thread it, trust me, when you watch our threading video, it's super easy, and more often than not, you're not rethreading the machine, you're just tying a spool on and pulling it through and then just threading the needle. So it's really not that daunting, and everybody who buys these multi-needle machines, they say the same thing after they've had it. It's way less daunting than it actually looks, trust me on that one. Another really cool feature on the Halo X is that it's got a very stable hooping mechanism. I mentioned when I showed you the hoops that there's 2 points of contact when the hoop goes on, but have a look at how easy this is to actually get onto the machine. So with 2 points of contact, there's your hoop holding arms here, and all we got to do is slide them in there and push it on, and it's in place. Now, if you've embroidered before, you'll know what I'm about to talk about, and that is particularly on a home machine where you've only got one sort of point of contact where the hoop attaches. And you know that on the bigger hoops, there's always that little bit of movement in them. You sometimes get some registration issues on your designs. Well, that is all but taken away on a multi-needle machine because there's no movement in that hoop at all. And these, the arms, which are supported by the drive mechanism back here, they're so strong, so you don't get that sag on the garment or on the hoop when you're putting heavy items in there. It really does support those bigger, larger things like bathrobes and big hoodies and quilts and so on. There's a lot of support on the embroidery arms. It's a very powerful machine, so that is also a huge advantage, and particularly good if you start using the bigger magnetic frames that are available, which are quite heavy. This machine will support them brilliantly. Now, the other thing, that the power that it has comes from the fact that it uses much bigger stepping motors to drive these mechanisms in the hoop than your typical home machine or even some of your crossover machines. It also has a much more powerful servo motor driving the whole machine. So it runs up to 1,000 stitches per minute, but it doesn't. It holds that speed really well, and again, if you've been embroidering for a long time, you know a lot of machines do slow down very, very much when they get to certain stitch types, and that's normal on any machine. This one holds its speed a lot better because of that big, powerful servo motor and the big stepping motors that drive the hoop forward and to the side. Another key feature on any multi-needle machine, or any embroidery machine for that matter, is thread break detection, because, you know, let's face it, threads will break from time to time for all sorts of reasons, and this one will certainly sense those thread breaks, and it uses these little spinning wheels here. If they're not spinning, the machine thinks the thread's broken, and it will give you it will stop the machine and give you an option to backtrack through the design to cover where the thread may have broken. So that's all standard. And there's so many nice features on this machine. I sound like a broken record, but there are good features that are quite new to this model. The Halo X has what we call a rotary trimming system. Now, most of the multi-needle machines that have been sold to the home or small business market have a different trimming system, an older style trimming system. This new one has a rotary trimming system, and it no longer has that little what we call the picker or the fork at the front of the bobbin case, so it makes it easier to get the bobbin case in and out, and it's also a much more reliable trimming function. So trimming, and of course trimming when you're doing big designs is important, and let's face it, some designs could have hundreds of trims in them, and if it's not trimming well, that can be a real pain in the backside. So the trimming system on this is just awesome, and as I said, the bobbin case is much easier to get in and out of the machine. And a great feature about having this style of machine is that, compared to a home style machine, if you are halfway through a design and you need to change your bobbin, you don't need to remove your hoop. You can access the bobbin from underneath the garment, and no need to take the hoop out at all. And it will also, you can tell this machine to trim the bobbin thread only. So if you feel like you're in the middle of a color block or something and you want to take that bobbin out, you can just say trim the bobbin thread. It will trim just that, leave the needle thread in there. You can change the bobbin, put a new one back in, and continue on like nothing happened at all. So that's a really, really nice feature. A couple of other things I'll point out on the physicality of the machine, and that is these handy buttons on the front panel here. So you've got the ability to move your hoop to the position you want it right here. You've got trimming and being able to bring your machine back to that proper stop position. Is a one push button there, which is really cool. The handy laser pointer on the Halo X is also great too. So you can set that, you basically just point the laser to the needle hole or the needle penetration point now. And what that means is when you're positioning a design, you can actually see exactly where the center of the design is going to be or where it's going to trace around, and just makes it so much easier if you're getting design placement within your hoop. And there's also a button that'll turn it on and off, so that's right there. It's just a really nice feature, and one that once you've used it, you won't want to be without it. Now, maintenance on this type of machine is really simple and probably less required than your average home machine. And there's a few reasons for that. One is that the build quality and the strength of the machine is just crazily good. But the main shafts are on bearings, seal bearings, so really don't require a lot of maintenance at all. There is a couple of oiling points, one oiling point just down here, and we also oil the needle bars on a regular basis, and there's little felt pads in there that you just put oil on. We have videos that'll show you how to do that. But the good thing is, on this one, that little front panel here can be clipped off and you can access that nice and easily. And there's also a little oil reservoir that you can access externally here, and that oil reservoir is good because it uses a wick feed system to push oil up into the main drive mechanism, which drives the actual needle bars up and down. So that's something you don't have to worry about as long as you keep oil in that little reservoir. But generally speaking, other than taking your needle plate off and cleaning under that, which is normal for any sewing or embroidery machine, and keeping the oil up to it, there's very little you need to worry about on the Halo X. So that's the external information on the machine, kind of give you a bit of a run through. Now we'll have a look at the screen and the smart technology that is in this machine, which is extraordinary. So we've got a 7-inch color screen, really high resolution, nice and easy to read, and very simple to use. And what I like about the Halo X and the way the screen is it's just logical. And so I might just run through a little bit of that simplicity on it, and we'll just go, we'll start up the top, and a lot of these settings you don't need to worry about. In fact, you never need to use them, but I've got an option to turn the lights on and off, which you're probably always going to leave on. And we can set this up on a local area network if you want, but it also uses just a standard USB. And honestly, that's the easiest way to do it. USB plugs in the side there, nice and easy to load designs. We have, moving down here, that's where we select our color palette, so we can go in. I've got a little logo in there for Halo X. It's a 2-color design. I can see this there. There's the 10 colors I have on my machine at the moment. And what's more, I can tell the machine what colors I'm actually using. So, for instance, right now, it says on needle number 1, I've got black, and this is needle number 1 or color number 1, and it goes like that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way around to 10, and then I can actually set colors that kind of reference those colors that are on the machine, and that makes life a little bit easier. But right now, this design that I have in there, which is a 2-color design, the first color is going to use red and the second color is going to use black. And once I tell the machine what color I'm using, that's what creates the automation. So as soon as I hit the go button, the machine will automatically select the color that I've chosen. It'll do that color, it'll stop, it'll trim the thread and then move automatically to the next color that I've chosen. And whether you've got a 2-color design or perhaps something like this, I'll just quickly show you. This is a sample we stitched out when we got this machine. There are 45 color changes in this design. 45 color changes, but only 10 colors. Now, what does that mean? That means once I put the 10 colors that I'm using on the machine and I go through and just simply select the colors for the needle that I want to use for each color, it's automatic. I just hit the go button and it will do it all for me. I don't have to change threads at all. It's all done, and that's a stunning design and very detailed and quite a large design too. And once you've done one of these on a multi-needle machine, you will never want to do that on a single needle machine again. I can absolutely assure you of that. And incidentally, that was 145,000 stitches on that design. So again, doing that with 45 color changes, it's time consuming on a single needle machine. Much easier on a multi-needle. And here's another quick one we just did. That's 116,000 stitches. And not quite as many color changes, but nonetheless, I think it was around 20 or 30, somewhere around that point. But beautiful stitch out. Stitch quality is just superb because we are using an industrial rotary hook system. We're using industrial presser feet. It is an industrial machine, so it's designed to do this kind of work without any problems at all. So getting back into our screen, once we've programmed our colors, we can just tick that there. Moving down here, we've got our option to set speed. It goes up to 1,000 stitches per minute and in very small increments, so you can go to wherever you want. And once you've got your speed set, come back there. We can fast forward through the design, so we can go 1 stitch at a time, 10 stitches, 100 stitches. We can tell it to go to a particular part of the design. We can go through in a fast forward on screen, or we can jog through the design without stitching and the hoop will actually move. We can go backwards, we can go forwards. We can even go forward or backwards in colors as well. So it's really easy to navigate through a design, particularly if you might have done something wrong, maybe you didn't hoop it correctly or whatever, and you have to sort of re-hoop and get back to a starting point. It's great. Now this button here allows you to access the memory on the machine, and this has a huge memory. You could put up to 1,000 designs on here. You're unlikely to run out of capacity because it's just a massive memory, and big designs are handled with ease. As I mentioned, that motorbike design was 145,000 stitches, and that's nowhere near the maximum capacity that you could do in one single design. We can also, going back in there, we can actually see how many our designs graphically. So there's that motorbike that we just showed you. I can page up and page down through there. I've got a few designs. In fact, I've got 4 pages of designs here. There's the sewing machine that we just did. And so you just select your designs. If I was loading a USB, I just put my USB stick in. In fact, I'll grab my USB stick. It's just a matter of popping that in the side there. Whoops, I'll get it in the right way, helps. There we go. That will just quickly read that USB. And once it does, we can just tap on the USB icon there. And there's all the designs on that USB. And if I choose one to go onto the machine, I'll just take that Echidna logo, hit the green button, and it'll ask me what number do I want to put it in. I'm going to put it into number 16, but if I had a specific position number that I wanted to send it to, I could. And it'll usually just take the next available one. Hit enter, and now I've loaded that design. If I escape out of there, go to page down, oops, it took an empty slot. That's it, number 16. There it is. That's the design we just put in. Now, these machines do use the DST format, which is the most common embroidery format there is. It doesn't matter what designs you've got. If you don't have them in DST, any software in the market will convert your files to DST. So any other embroidery design can easily be converted to DST format. And but that's how you choose designs. You even have an option to, let me just escape there and go back into that. come back into there. You even have this new little option here which allows me to add text, and I've got all sorts of font options here. So I can put in names. I've got a whole heap of different font variations that I can choose there, and I can set the size of that. So they're all sort of built in. But if you're a big software user and you like doing your digitizing and that sort of thing, you probably won't use that terribly much, but it is built into the machine. So I'll just get out of that again. We don't need to dig into that, but there will be videos on that available. So just if you really want to get into that, you can. You do also have the option of editing designs in this screen, so you can rotate and mirror image and change designs around however you like. So loads and loads of features there. We don't need to play with that now. Let's escape out of that again and get back to our main screen. This button here lets you go from needle to needle. Now, another one of the great things about a multi-needle machine is you can leave it running in automatic mode, or you can set it to manual mode. And this button here, the one that I've just selected then, the needles, allows you to change to a different needle number. So if I wanted to go to needle number 4, hit number 4 and it will slide the head across to needle number 4. And if I wanted to sort of choose colors on the fly, sometimes you do that. You know, you start with, you're doing a big design, it's complicated, you're not sure what colors you want to use. You can set it to what we call a manual mode. A manual mode, which has an M just here, means that whatever needle is selected, that's the needle it's going to use. So I might have stitched with needle number 4, and then I think, all right, after the next color, when it stops, I'm going to go to needle number 6, and that's the needle that it's going to use. So you've got 3 modes of needle selection. There's manual, automatic, and full automatic. So the full automatic is it stops, it cuts the thread, it moves to the next needle, and it starts sewing. Semi-automatic means it will stop, move to the next needle that you've already programmed in, and then wait for you to hit the go button. So that's kind of cool. You've got your machine control panel here, and you've got loads and loads of settings that you can play with there, but you don't need to if you don't want to. However, a couple of the really neat functions are, if you like stitching with specialty threads like metallics or heavier threads or lighter threads, whatever it is, anything that's out of the ordinary, sometimes you want your machine to run at a slightly slower speed. Metallics are a typical example of that. If I'm using metallic needles on, say, needle 1 and 2, or metallic thread on needle 1 and 2, I can tell the machine that every time needle 1 and 2 is selected, run at a different speed. And you can nominate that on any of the needles that you want. So that's a really, really nice feature, being able to do that. You can also, this is a big one actually, you can also set what we call offset points or stop points. So if you're an applique lover or you do a lot of in the hoop projects, these machines are perfect because you can actually set in these stop points at any position you like. Let's just say you've got a design that's got 10 color changes, but you need to stop the design after color change number 4 so you can add some fabric or some applique fabric, or it's an in the hoop design and you've got to change the process. I can set the stop point, the machine will stop, and it will even, once it's set, push the hoop out for you so you can access what's on the hoop very, very easily. We have videos on that as well, but that's a big advantage on in the hoop projects, and combined with the big hoop option, the offset stop points, it just makes it a whole lot easier. The other advantage, and I've seen this firsthand many times, is because the presser feet on these machines are quite small and they are what we call a pogo foot and they go up and down with the needle. Because a lot of in the hoop projects get quite thick and quite heavy, typically on home machines, they can sometimes catch on the presser foot, and that just doesn't happen on here. So it really does make a great deal of sense if you are an in the hoop project person, or even big quilt blocks and that sort of thing. Much, much easier. Look, there's no point getting too much into the settings pages. A lot of stuff you'll never ever use, but there are some user parameters and it's very simple to follow. The screen is easy to read, and it's just all makes sense. Moving on, this little button here, this red one, that's an important one. So if I wanted to, I've got the Halo X logo selected right there now. So if I wanted to turn that into embroidery mode, I just simply touch that red button. It says change to embroidery confirmation status, hit the green button, and I'll save that. And now that design is in go mode. So once that button turns from red to blue, we are ready to stitch, and we're going to stitch that design in just a few moments. Finally, coming down here, obviously you've got a start-stop button, but the one we're going to do first is have a look at this one here, which is the hoop selection option. Now, the standard hoops and the additional aftermarket Halo hoops are already programmed in, and we also add programming for a lot of our other third-party hoops, like the Maggie frames and other frames that we have adapted to work on the Halo. So we will always preload those before we send the machine out. But at the moment, this machine's still pretty much as it came from the factory. And in order to select a hoop, I just go down to this icon just down here. And this is, well, I don't even think I mentioned this before, but the hoops are numbered. So this is the number 2 hoop. And if I wanted to, well, that'll be too small for this design, so we'd probably use the number 3 hoop. So you just select the hoop you want, hit the green button, and it will now change that hoop, and it will recenter the hoop, the pantograph, or the device that moves the hoop. It will recenter that to be perfectly centered. And if I wanted to move that design around, I can, very, very simply. But I also have these buttons up here too, remember? So I can move it up here. I don't need to dig into the machine screen to do a simple thing like moving the design. If I wanted to recenter the design, I've got a recentering function. And I've also got a trace function. So if we touch this button here, that's the trace function. Now, it's really cool because it gives me 2 trace functions. It will do a trace as a little box around the design, and it will also do a walk the outline. So in other words, it will actually trace, and particularly good when the LED pointer's on, it will trace around the actual outline of the design, which really makes it easy for you to get a very precise placement of your design. We'll just do a standard trace for a moment. I'm going to do that with some fabric in a minute anyway. We'll come back to that. I've got a nice feature here if I want to go back to needle 1 just quickly, and I always recommend that for doing a trace. Always go back to needle 1. And by the way, it always starts with needle 1 on the right-hand side. So it goes 1, 2, 1 to 10, right, 2, left, and color 1 is here, and it goes around to 10. So pretty simple to follow there. If I were to move my design somewhere and I thought, right, I've got to do 10 of these projects and I want the design to stitch out in the same point each time, I can set that as my home point. So every time I load that design, if I hit the home button, it will take it back to that same position for me. So lots of nice little easy to use features that are pretty handy. And going back into our hoop settings there, because it's programmable, I can add as many hoops as I want. So whenever a new aftermarket hoop comes out, or a new design of hoop, we can add the parameters in here. And what that also means, by the way, is if I move this design to a point where it's outside of the available hoop area, it won't let me stitch it. It will actually turn the screen to a different color and basically warn me, you can't do that because you might hit the hoop, and we don't want that happening. So that's a good safeguard. We can also, let's go back to recenter that. And we've got 2 ways of moving the hoop. We've got a fast and a slow move. So nice and easy. Hop out of that. So that design is actually already now set. I'll just go back to automatic mode. And I could hoop up some fabric and we might even stitch that one out. Okay, so I have some fabric in hoop number 3, and I purposely put a little start point there for the center point of my design, and I purposely not centered it, so I'll show you how easy it is to reposition the design using the move functions or the jog functions. Now these hoops are reversible, so they can go on either way, so just be mindful of that when you're hooping up, so you get it in the right orientation. So I've now got my hoop in position, and for the purpose of the camera, I'm going to turn off the very bright LED lights. So the lights they're great on this machine, but they don't film very well when you're trying to show the laser. So we've got a little button up here that turns the lights off, and now you'll be able to see the laser a whole lot better. And you can see that it's not in the right position there. So all I need to do to jog it to the right position is just move these little buttons here. Whoops, go the right way. Now you are moving the hoop, not the design. So that's the thing to remember. I want that hoop to go across there. There you go, I'm pretty happy with that. And if you absolutely need to be millimeter perfect, then what I do recommend you do is do a needle drop. And easiest way to do that, you can do it automatically going into the 100-degree rotation key. And what that does is that's a key that just cycles the machine back to its proper finished position or resting position. And but I can also use it to drop the needle. So if I hit that button there, I can see up again. I'm pretty well perfect. So my laser was pretty well positioned, but it's an adjustable thing. So you just do a little check every now and then to make sure it's in the right posi. So at any rate, it's still a bit of thread sitting there. So if I now do a trim, for instance, I can actually also just pull up and cut that bit of thread that's sitting there. So right now I got my position set. I will check our colors here. So if I hit the palette here, it's going to use needle 6, which is the red one over here, and then the second color is black, which is the first one. That's exactly what I wanted. And I can just hit the tick button to that, and I can trace my design now. So if I go into the hoop options again, I've got my trace function. I'll do a standard trace, which is just a box around where the design would stitch. And I can also do an outline trace. So let's have a look at that outline trace. And this is a much slower trace, and it traces literally around the edge. Now, on this smaller hoop, you probably won't get the laser showing on that right-hand side. There, it's just hitting the hoop, or showing on the hoop, but that's okay. I know I'm in exactly the right position, and I can see here visually that my Halo X design is well within the parameter of that hoop. So I'm pretty happy with that. I can escape out of that. All I need to do is now turn it onto embroidery mode. So we hit this red button here, change to embroidery confirmation status. Whether do we save the current design? So if we've changed something in the design, perhaps we've changed the colors, or we've rotated it, or we've done whatever, and if you hit the tick box, it means the next time you open that design from the machine's memory, it's going to have those same changes already applied to it. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm in fully automatic mode, so all I need to do now is hit the start button, and it moves to the head that we need to use. I can turn the laser off. Now here's one of the best things about this machine, and you won't notice it on this video because videos never give you a true representation of the noise. These are quiet. I think they're under 70 decibels, and they're quieter than the average home machine. In fact, they're quieter than most home machines, to be honest. Certainly much quieter than any other multi-needle machine that I've ever used. And I think that's a key feature for a machine that's going to go into a lot of home environments, is that lovely quiet smoothness of it. So it does the trim. Of course, the beaut thing about an industrial machine is you don't ever get tails left on top of the fabric, so that's all going to be a thing of the past for you. If you've had an older style machine, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now that's running at 750 stitches per minute. If I want to speed that up, I can hit that button, and I can do this while it's actually sewing. So that's now at 830. And we can go right up to 1,000. I generally run around 730 to 800, 850 sometimes, depends on the design. But it is a sweet machine. So there we go, that's quickly stitched out, and I'm going to turn the light back on now so we can see that a bit better. As you can see, the light's really, really bright, and they're little LED lights too, and so they not only are they bright, but they last a long time, so not like the old days of light bulbs in sewing machines. Now to take that out, we just simply put our fingers under there, slide that forward. Really easy to take out, but you know, the stitch quality is superb, the back's nice and neat, and you're just going to love it. Like if you've dreamt of having a multi-needle machine, this could be the one for you. Now the best thing is, and I'm not going to put it on this video because, you know, times change, videos age, go to our website and check out the price and the deals that we have and the payment options. Absolutely outstanding. It is going to change your perception of multi-needle machines. They have a great warranty, 5 years backed by Echidna. We are the importers into Australia. We are the distributors for them. And we've been doing the Halo brand for quite some number of years now, and it's a terrific product. Great company to deal with. And we have a load of specialists here that will help you through it. Video content is extensive, so whatever you need to know is going to be available to you. And the other thing is we do a lot of video support. So, you know, if you're at home and you're not sure about something, you don't know how to do something, all you got to do is contact us and we can schedule a live video chat with you and go through the process and make sure that you know how to get the most out of this amazing piece of kit. But again, as I said, the price and the deals and the payment options are going to amaze you. So please check out the website, check out the links, and get in touch with us if you want to get your name on one of these guys. So look, that's it. That's a good run through on the Halo X, and hope you've enjoyed the video. I've had fun doing it, and I can't wait to help you get into the world of multi-needle embroidery. Cheers.